And we are back. Welcome, everybody. Reynor and SOS. What a mix of two different eras of StarCraft 2. One of these two players will be eliminated. The other will fight Solar in the final match of Group A in Season 1 of the GSL. So this is going to be our very first player of the whole year eliminated. It's going to be sad to see either one go because both these guys are such legends, so important to the game. Reynor has been living in Korea off and on, hungry to win a GSL. This is the last, you know when you play Steam games and you unlock stuff?
You get the achievements.
Yeah, normally I don't even want them. Well, these are the achievements he wants. This is the last thing he needs to kind of have done everything in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, he's got 99% achievement on Steam right now.
Yeah, he's got this one obscure thing.
I just need the GSL title. Give me that pin. And
exactly.
I respect it so much, too, to come out here. I mean, so many foreign players never came out to Korea to compete for whatever reason. Not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Oh,
but the fact that Reynor
I'm saying it's messed up. I'll say it.
But for Reynor to come out here and just, put his heart on the line and practice as hard as he does for GSL like this, you can't help but cheer for him. I think everybody wants him to succeed. But
100%.
At the same time, almost like the Cinderella story of SOS coming back to StarCraft 2 in 2025 after the longest hiatus on his road to EWC. It's a brilliant storyline, but sadly for one of these players, it's going to end here. Reynor versus SOS. Let's get started with the elimination match of Group A.
Okay, Reynor in the top right, SOS in the bottom left. Finally a PVZ for us today.
Yeah, I'm excited to see PVZ on this patch between Reynor and SOS here in GSL. I've been loving this matchup on the ladder, and I know the Zergs have been hating it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of complaining. I have a hard time ever telling how authentic Zerg complaints are because they have won more. And Terran seems to have done fine. I know that people are going to be pulling their hair out saying that. I'm like, sorry, I was just looking at,
I can hear the
tournament
threads.
results. I know that maybe the ladder means something different to you guys, but like, I always think we have these tournaments where everybody comes together. We do crown champions. But yeah, historically, there's been a lot of complaints about Protoss. I don't feel like they have delivered anywhere near as much in the last couple of years. But let's see. Let's see how it's going to be played. By the way, however the matchup functions now in the meta, I don't know if it's going to be relevant to how the game is going to look with SOS playing. He has never really played like anybody else. Came from Chile. That is a long trip.
Wow.
Welcome. And action.
Don't Reynor on my parade. I like that.
Nice. Well done. I'm like, no, cameraman, go back. I don't get it. Well done.
I do wonder how SOS is going to play. I feel like in PvZ, you kind of need to leverage the new energy charge ability on the Nexus in some way. So I feel like almost no matter what, the way that SOS is going to be approaching this matchup, he's going to be relying on that in some capacity. Like, he will hinge a lot of the builds on that. But it is possible that he does something with some real flair. He has been known to be one of the most unpredictable players of all time in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, he's always done something unique. By the way, if he dies out, I don't know when we're going to see him next in StarCraft 2.
Yeah, hopefully GSL Season 2.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got to qualify, right? I mean, It was kind of a stunning thing that he got, this deep. There were several other players that we thought would be making it here. There's always a couple plot twists in a GSL as far as who makes it, and then it's the usual suspects. But I don't know, man. Is this going to be the last time we see SOS if he doesn't perform well here? I
hope not. I feel like the game is just better when SOS is playing it. He brings so much to the table.
He is literally my favorite player to cast out of all the StarCrafts. I've had more fun trying to figure out what he's doing. He's surprised me more than anybody else.
For a long time in my StarCraft 2, viewing experience throughout my life, The Protoss players that I love to watch the most, being a Protoss player myself, it's a Void Ray. Of course, he's not going to go for an Oracle and charge it up with energy. That would be too meta. It's going to be a Void Ray. It's SOS. But usually is somebody who would watch mostly on the basis of what can I learn and incorporate into my own play.
Right.
SOS is terrible. You cannot watch SOS play and try to emulate him and find any success. It doesn't work. It does not work. You need to watch somebody like Parting or somebody like Rain. But still, there's just some addictive allure about his approach and how unique it is in every single matchup over the history of StarCraft 2. And it's a Fleet Beacon!
It's Fleet Beacon on
Let's
two
get
bases.
a mothership and charge it up! Do they even have energy anymore?
Right?
I don't know. I'm wondering if this is going to be Tempest.
Could be.
I have no clue what the game plan is. Okay, second Stargate. This is Tempest.
Yep, Tempest.
Well, I mean,
time.
I guess it's SOS. It could be carriers.
Yeah, it's
a fool's errand to try and predict anything this guy does.
Yeah, this is always tough to predict what he's going to do. But yeah, I mean, I guess we can kind of look at how many resources are coming in on two bases and what can you feasibly make with that. I guess it would be Tempest, but I'm happy to be wrong when I'm casting SOS's games, you know?
Yeah, somewhere in America, Ganning is smiling. The Tempest build rises again. Oh, this build is so much fun.
This would have been a good sponsored match by Tempest Rising here. Come out here. Listen, we got a new game coming out. We want you to go for this build.
Yeah. Early Roach-Warren coming in here from Reynor. How many drones does he have? 41. Handful more in production, so he's going to go up to 46. I think he doesn't know exactly what the game plan is here from SOS. One of the things about the Void Ray is it is very good at just shutting down the scouting of your Zerg opponent. It can snipe the Overlord. It's good at pushing away Lings. It covers a lot of area.
Oh,
no! Not like this.
Even the Tempest stopped moving.
Oh, yeah, the Tempest is just stunned. It's like, wait, you guys let what happen at home? I mean, the micro is pretty good here for SOS, only losing 2 probes, 3 probes, I guess, but the main issue right now is the fact that the Tempest tech got revealed. Ideally here as Protoss, you kind of want this to be a surprise so that you can snipe at least 1 hatchery. You want to have, I think it's 5, God, it's been a long time since I've done or seen this build. I believe it's 5 Tempest to 1-shot a Queen. I believe so. And so there's certain critical masses of Tempest count that you want to snipe down hatcheries, to snipe down Queens, and get a lot of value as you most likely will transition into a more quote-unquote standard game after that against a player of Reynor's caliber. But these Lings getting a lot done. Getting into the main base, now coming into the third, killing the shield battery with no cancel. And Reynor has had a lot of time to prepare. He's about to have like 10 Queens on the ground, 8 with 2 more, I think, in production.
Yeah, he's going to just get his Spire up here, so he'll have the units to counter this. Part of what makes what SOS is doing strong is that it would blindside you, but that didn't happen this time because, you know, basically it was scouted by the Ling run in there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate here. I mean, he is getting damage done, but you have to think about the cost of 5 Tempests like this with the upgrade to take down buildings. It's a lot of investment for maybe a dozen drone kills and some lost mining time.
Well, also these units, it's hard to use them after this rush is over, right?
Right. There's probably going to be a swell of Corruptors after this that'll just completely rain on his parade.
That swell of Corruptors comboed with anything that's on the ground will probably wipe out the third. I think this is a really bad position. We have 6 Corruptors making right now. All Reynor has to do is basically buy time.
SOS is doing a pretty good job of using this airspace, by the way. Even though this was not a surprise, he's killed so many Queens. And this hatchery is probably going to fall. 9 Corruptors about to pop.
Oh my God.
Oh. How is he getting so much done with this, Tasteless?
He gets it. He gets it.
And he recalls. Oh, one's going to fall, but still, that's... Given the situation that SOS was in, this is nice. And behind all of this, he did not stop Voider production. He's got 3 on the field. He's getting Flux Veins. He's getting +1 air weapons right now. SOS is playing his own game. But will he have enough static defense, enough air to stop these Corruptors? I think he might. 4 Void Rays against 9 Corruptors with the Tempest support. With shield batteries on the ground. This is kind of a crazy situation. Man, it is such a treat to have him back in GSL. I love this.
I mean, he's always bringing new ideas. There's just nobody that ever plays like him ever. So, I mean, I thought that was going to fail. Honestly, I did, because it was scouted. I think my casting kind of brought me into a conclusion where I'm like, well, if you see this, then you're going to stop it, right? Because there's a reason why you don't just do this blindly, you know, every game, right? And so I thought, okay, he's going to hold it. Well, I was totally wrong. I mean, he actually managed to snipe the hatchery and get out. So Reynor's in really bad shape. The Corruptors are all made, but, like, you know, you can't just fly your Corruptors into their base without something to fight on the ground, and we're not really there yet. Now he's massing up more and more Corruptors. I guess you could try to win a fight in the air, and then, you know, bile down the Nexus. You know, in the current state of StarCraft 2, it's batteries and not cannons defending Nexuses. So maybe that's what he wants to do.
But I actually love this transition coming in from sOs. He's adding on 6 more gateways. I think that's going to bring his count up to maybe 8 or 10 with Charge, with Storm. And if Reynor overcommits to the Corruptors here, he might just not have enough on the ground to deal with what sOs is going to bring to the table.
Even 1 or 2 Archons here with this would be so nasty for the Corruptors.
I'm so curious about what army sOs is going to show while he takes this 4th base, because if he just shows Sky Toss with Void Rays, with +1 air weapons, with Flux Veins, then Reynor might just kind of keep feeding into this Corruptor count, going up and up and up. And that could be good for sOs, as the Corruptor's now going to come in. They will take down the Cybernetics Core.
That's a smart snipe. It hadn't even occurred to me to try to do that. You know, normally the Cybernetics Core is not really a target. It's like you'll take it if you can get it, but I guess if you're going for a big air fleet here, it makes a lot more sense.
Okay, he spots the Templar. And actually, the way that sOs is setting up for this, I'm wondering whether he's just going to try and play a macro game. You know, I thought with the initial gateways and with the forge timing with Charge that he might be gearing up to try and go for some kind of attack, but it's looking more and more like defensive posturing here for Protoss, as Reynor now coming in towards the 12 o'clock position, pushes in. Tempest, Archons, and Templar will send him right back. But soon sOs is going to be on 4 bases with a basically fully fleshed out tech tree. Now, the supply leaves a little bit to be desired here for sOs, but economically, he's not in a bad position. He's going to have +2 ground weapons soon. He already has +1 air weapons. This is a very interesting game.
We kind of fell back into what we were talking about with PvZ in this game. I mean, it was a wild opening, and sOs pulled it off with the hatchery kill and narrowly escaped, but now we're into like a very turtled up Protoss that's going to be really hard to engage into. And Zerg is going to slowly grow out on the map. We're ramping up to maxed out on both sides.
It's a lot of Archons, Tasteless.
Yeah, the Archons make it kind of impossible for the Corruptors to fight. Corruptors don't kill Tempest immediately. And, you know, with Archons and just the way that units bunch up in StarCraft 2, like, it can be devastating if those Corruptors are underneath the Archons for even a second or two.
Yeah, I would love to have just one Oracle on the map constantly tagging these Corruptors. Keep vision.
Yeah, I think as long as sOs controls the army right, I think it does just beat what we're seeing here from Reynor. The Ravagers are a smart addition. You know, Tempest and Void Rays aren't that fast. It's kind of hard to both fight and glide out of the way. Dodge the shots.
Yeah, the Lurker transition. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say there's a 5th base coming here. That's it. Go ahead.
Fungal's huge right now on that. Doesn't quite get the big damage done on the Void Rays, but at least one of them does fall down as Reynor looking for the wombo combo of the Fungal and all those biles while he transitions into Lurker tech. And sOs, he's actually going to commit to the fight stage as he's coming in. There's a lot of energy on those Templar, maybe 5 Storms right now in the bank. So many Archons on the ground. The Corruptors nowhere to be seen. Storm really big on those Ravagers. The Archons continuing to push in. Roach Remax coming in right now for Reynor. The Protoss army is starting to thin out a little bit here. Air finally cleaned up by all of those Corruptors, but there aren't that many Roaches and Ravagers on the ground. Reynor right now, he's waiting for this Remax to come right in, but if it trickles in from all these bases with Archons on them, it might be tough for him to actually get a good fight.
I don't know that sOs can make this work. It seems like Reynor kind of took each fight separately.
Yeah.
You know, Archons and Storm with a couple Zealots, it feels strong initially, but once the Archons are isolated, you know, they take full damage on their shields. Reynor just tries to snipe the Nexus, realizes he can't really fight it there. He might go to the main, though, and see what he can kill over there. Now, from here, Reynor is maxed out. and will probably have a devastating, if not fatal, counterattack as he goes across the map.
Yeah, Reynor now pushing in to the 12 o'clock position with just enough Roaches and Ravagers. Even the shield batteries and cannons are going to be able to help out that much in the defense here for SOS. As the Corruptors, yeah, they are getting thwarted here by the Stalkers, but the real story is this army all the way at the 4th base of SOS as he is getting pushed back. I just don't think there's going to be enough on the ground here for Protoss to stop what Reynor's got as he navigates a really tricky game to a victory here in map number 1, or at least I was thinking that the Stalkers do come back and push him.
I think that eventually he can push in here. It's just tier 1. If he gets enough storms, I think he can hold. I think there's a real Achilles heel at the bottom center between those two bases, and he could basically divide and conquer over there. Reynor has not really grown out on the map that much, by the way. Creep spread is pretty stagnant. That usually happens in games where they start out kind of in unusual circumstances.
I think I called this way too early. I mean, with the Templar energy like this as well.
Well, I mean, let's see. He's got the Lurkers coming up here now.
Storm's pretty good right there, just zoning away. But these Lurkers anchoring this position between the 4th and the 5th base is tough. That's what's just barely threading the needle out of range. But it is so hard with a Stalker army like this one, especially with Templar, to try and push into these Lurkers. He's just picking away at whatever he can here with these Stalkers. That's what's with some really resilient control.
Ling counter over here. The Immortal's isolated. This Nexus is probably going to fall. The Lurkers are painful to move through.
Well, the Zealots, they might be able to walk past them a little bit and get a good surround. Storm also there on the Lurkers, but there's so much damage being done. Those Templars so low on HP. Oh, the Lurker cleans up, I think, 3 of them.
Oh, this has no shields. The reinforcements have to come here quickly for Reynor. He's got a foothold, but he has to get the finishing blow-off in the 2 spots at 6 o'clock. I don't even know if SOS is microing this. I think he's busy trying to make stuff back at home. He comes back here, blinks away for a second. Not going to buy him much more time. He's got Corruptors in the front to try to soak Stalker shots and kind of sandbag progress on the Lurkers over here. Reynor's got a lot in production. Eggs are popping. He's going to come in. He's going to try to shove onto this base. If he takes this base out, it'll be Protoss on 3 bases to Zerg's 5.
It's going to be so hard for SOS to break out of this contain right now. But he's got something. He is on a timer with these Lurkers inching towards that base. He's trying to set up a position here in the middle of the map, but there just isn't enough units, and not really any splash damage to field these Lings either. They're just going to clean it up. So that 4th base continuing to take damage, more probes falling.
I don't think SOS can win now.
No.
And, you know, it's funny. He looked like he might be able to manage in the middle of this game, and then it eventually just fell apart. Is he going to ooze down the building, or he might just let the Lurkers do the work? More and more Lurkers and Lings are going to keep being produced. He's going to wipe this building. And, I mean, I guess Protoss can try to expand up here. It looks like he's got a long-distance mine with some of this. He doesn't have enough patches to use them anywhere else.
Nice catch on these Lurkers, but the economy right now for SOS is just abysmal. Basically half the income of his Zerg opponent right now, and it was some good control. Oh, no, the Templar is getting caught. 2 high-energy Templars getting taken down. They do get 1 good storm off on the Hydras, but not going to kill very many of them at all as more probes fall. SOS with just 1 last Hail Mary attack here, trying to push into the base of Reynor. But there's just no good way for him to really deal with all of these Lurkers there at his 3rd base. GG is called.
Crazy game. Reynor takes it. Orthodox play. Powers through. Maybe the most creative player in StarCraft 2. I wonder if that game would have looked different had the Lings not scouted it, but, you know, he made, what was it, like 11 queens down there?
It was a lot of queens.
It was a lot, and, you know, the hatchery still went down. I think SOS could have probably won that game had Reynor not gotten the up and up and produced so many queens that he was able to curb the progress of that strategy.
Yeah, he would have been in a better position for sure. And then also during that fight when SOS was pushing initially with the air, with the Archons, with the Templar into the 3rd base of Reynor, I was watching the production tab, and so many units were getting warped in from SOS.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason they were going to be on the front line, and that would make it so challenging for Reynor to actually corral all of his forces from all these different bases, all being attacked by Zealots, but there actually was no forward warping point there for SOS. So Reynor got like 1 or 2 more production rounds in, and all of SOS's units were streaming across the map, and he just could not build the momentum to finally break through. Reynor wins map number 1.
Ultra Love
Ultra loud.
Not the map name, but just how I'm feeling right now that we're back. Guys, let's get into game 2. Remember, the loser of this series is out of the GSL. Reynor, upper right, SOS, bottom left. And this is probably just a probe scout.
Whoa. It's a black hole down there.
Yeah, I imagine the probe just gets sucked in there. So that will block the... Oh, so sorry. I thought that was something in the middle map for a second. That will block the normal location of the hatchery. So he just goes down here and puts that at the third.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder how SOS is going to approach this game. He's been doing some really zany stuff.
Well, it's not surprising, right? I mean, he knows that he's not going to just be able to do like what the meta is and do it necessarily better, even though I think he would probably do pretty well if he did that. He knows he can look at a situation and intuit build orders or concepts that other players are, he's just sort of built to play RTS games and look at them a certain way.
He's built to play Protoss especially.
Yes. No, he's a Protoss for sure.
But I feel like I've never been more out of my depth casting a Protoss game than I was casting the games that SOS has played so far today.
Yeah, no,
he's just so unpredictable. Even with the vision of us as casters and observers, just being able to see everything that he's doing.
Well, I kind of gave up trying to be too deterministic in the cast because of that. I felt like, all right, just like let's kind of try to see what direction he's going to bring it in and try to call it.
Go along for the ride.
I think everybody remembers the game where he used a Nexus that he hid inside his opponent's main to recall a DT in there. Where I'm like, I don't.
Like what is even
I'm
happening right now?
I don't know what's going on.
It's like we're getting a glimpse of what StarCraft 2 looks like in the year 2030.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, this is actually how you play, guys. You're just a decade behind in the meta.
That was before they made Nexuses in the main. So, for now, we're waiting on that third base. It's going to be slow. We've got the Stargate. Let's see if it's going to be another Void Ray or not.
I feel like Stargate for such a long time in StarCraft 2 PvZ has just been the build that you go for because the Oracle gives you so much map control, and there are also some kind of crazier builds like the Tempest build that Canning absolutely loves to do, and occasionally we get to see Hero, and now I guess players like SOS also do it here in GSL.
Right. Well, the StarCraft is a foundational build in PvZ that's been around since StarCraft 1. StarCraft 1 Protoss has had a really hard time figuring out how to play against Zergs. Until the StarCraft 1 Protoss has figured out that you just need to get a Corsair to scout. It might counter Mutalisks, and you can scout that and make more if you need it, but otherwise at least you just have a flying unit, just like we see the Overlord here for the Zerg. And then you have a bunch of different ways you play the game from there, and so it's not shocking that early on in StarCraft 2 this idea was adopted. And it's pretty much been around through all of StarCraft 2.
And it's the same.
Now, does he see that?
It's the same build. Unscouted here by Reynor. He only sees the Void Ray. Don't let it ling in this time. Okay. I saw him at the front door. Please.
So SOS is just going to try again. Exact same situation. Try to do it a little bit faster, a little bit more efficiently. And, there's something to that. Generally, bad players do the same strategies over and over again in tournaments, which can make them kind of almost smart moves in the highest level of professional StarCraft.
It makes it almost more unpredictable.
Yeah.
Counterintuitively.
It's so counterintuitive that it might just get in there and work.
Oh, this is a variant from what we saw in the previous game. So I think he is going to try and bait Reynor into doing basically the same response that he did in game number 1. But behind this one, we have additional gateways coming in. There's going to be 5 gateways now in total. And a Twilight Council already up. Now, Charge isn't being researched. Glaives isn't being researched. We don't know what the follow-up is going to be. And, okay, finally it's going to be Glaives.
Wow. Okay, so it's going to be Tempest coming out, but then Glaives to kind of blindside the Zerg.
I like this switch up.
I don't know if he's going to actually make a Nexus here or not. This is a little bit of a sleight of hand from Reynor. No, he is going to make a Nexus. I stand corrected. You know, you can also put a probe out there and kind of generate the imagery of an expansion and maybe commit to this, but this is going to be very different.
I wonder when he's going to show that first Tempest. Is that actually the Tempest moving across the map right now? It is.
Yeah, so he's going to send the first one out here.
Yeah.
And this is probably going to force out more queens. You already saw how Reynor behaved last time.
And I'm watching the production tab to see what the response is from Reynor, and it is the same response. We have a Spire now coming in. He thinks that SOS is doing the same thing. Drones, queens, Spire. He doesn't know that there's 5 Gateway Glaive Adept about to move across the map. The Adept moving now from the natural expansion to the third base. You can see the shades on the minimap right now is, I feel like SOS with this ruse has very successfully duped his opponent. There's 24 Lings on the ground. Roach production only just now begun, but after a big swell of drones. So there's only 3 Roaches in queue.
Oh!
Wallen comes in with the Evolution Chamber. There should be enough Adepts to force that down. Indeed there are. And now they're going to use the choke point here against the Lings.
A lot of Adepts are being killed. That Evo Chamber was clutch because the Adepts, they can't really do a whole lot when they're in that shade form. He gets into the main, but it's not exactly that much. Only 2 drones, now 3 drones fall.
Some more drones falling here in the third base right now as 3 Adepts trying to get more damage done. Glaive's going to be, or Shade's being sent back down to the natural expansion. How much is there for Reynor? Not a lot, as even more drones are falling. SOS, though, he still hasn't been able to take a worker lead despite all of this damage, because he's cut probes behind all of it. +1 ground weapons now getting a research. No additional tech yet on the Twilight Council as the Adepts are finally starting to bleed out.
Yeah, the Adept numbers are getting pretty low. I don't know that he can shade any of these away in time here. And that's going to be the end of this rush.
And when the dust settles,
yeah,
20 or so drones go down, but Reynor is still ahead on workers because there wasn't really much of an economic follow-up here. Of course, Pep is still alive, by the way. Gets 1 more drone. But I'm a little bit concerned here for SOS because I feel like that might have not been enough damage, especially with how late +1 ground weapons is and Blink, but this Tempest actually got so many drones.
It's kind of crazy, yeah.
That just equalized the worker count. 32 drones now in total. 14 kills on that Tempest.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Right now, the Zerg was even for a little bit there. The next move is going to be Stalkers. I'm not totally clear on what kind of shape SOS is now in, because the Protoss army lacks sophistication on some level. Like, he's going to get Blink. That's going to be hard to deal with. Blink is just good versus Roaches, right? The Stalkers already have better range, and then they can play keep away.
I'm a little thrown off by the second Forge.
Yeah, a lot of this just looks weird.
But I love the idea of a Stalker push right now because this is when Reynor wants to start droning up a little bit more. It's 63 drones to 61 probes. Blink almost done. Finally now completes. Reynor going to try and take down the cooling tower to seal this area off.
Yeah, he goes for it, locks him out. Adios. So he's going to try to wrap around.
Does SOS have enough momentum?
The hatch.
You got to be very careful going for that hatchery, though, because you might just get stuck in that position.
Yeah, that's true. And, the hatchery's going to remain. More Stalkers are going to come up. SOS seems intent on trying to basically snowball a fight. He's not really trading that well. He takes that one out, but otherwise he hasn't really done that much.
I kind of wish the Tempest was over here just shelling the Roaches and the Ravagers during all of this.
And he's warping in Stalkers, what, like 7 at a time? Something like that.
It's a lot of Stalkers in the map right now. SOS actually almost has an army lead against Roach Ravager. But it's just tough to come in from these angles. Reynor is very smart with his positioning, setting up concaves at the bottom of these ramps, and SOS cannot really get a lot of value out of the Blink as a result of that. Even though, materially, this Stalker advantage, it is quite nice. He's going to move in, snipe 2 Ravagers, Blink right back. Crazy game right now.
So, he hasn't really prevented Reynor from doing anything. Reynor's supply is going to hit the top pretty soon here. Can he actually kill this?
I feel like he's barely going to get it.
Yeah, he's going to deny that.
Cancel comes in.
Now, that was a lot of lings, but I think that's probably fine, all things considered. I think he might be coming up here with a push soon. Now, the Temple Archives undeniably is late.
Yeah, it's been really weird the way the sOs has developed.
Yeah.
Like, he goes for the Adept Glaive's timing attack. Paired with the Tempest, gets about 30 drones, but behind it, he wasn't probing, he wasn't getting upgrades, he wasn't getting Blink. And now he went for this big push with the Blink Stalkers, with his second Forge behind getting no upgrades. And then once he realizes that it's not happening, he does this transition again with a fourth base, with double upgrades coming in, with the Templar Archives coming in. It's very full throttle or nothing with sOs right now, but he's been able to make it work so far in this game. He's holding his own against one of the best Zerg players in the world.
Yeah. He's looking very strong. So, sOs has to figure out how to make this work. He needs to get the few key units added in that are going to make this army a little bit more sophisticated. It's going to be Storm, but I could be wrong, but it feels like the Storm might just be late enough to where Reynor could hit him before Storm's done. And like, what are you going to do? You're going to blink away once or twice with Stalkers and hold this? I'm not so sure. Again, this is just a very funny-looking PvZ. It's not your run-of-the-mill, meta PvZ.
It's been quite low eco as well.
Yeah, it's been a scrappy game for sure. Lurker Tech is coming, so in fact, maybe Reynor wants to actually wait.
Stalker's going to shave off a couple more units over here by the fourth base as Hydrotech will be revealed. I feel like sOs should have on his radar that Lurkers are coming, and I think with the army that sOs has, you want to fight before those Lurkers actually get on the field, especially before they get their Hive upgrades. And that window is going to be in the next maybe 90 seconds here for sOs as he's getting closer and closer to max. But with only 4 Templar, I'm not sure he's going to have enough Storms to make this work. But hold that thought. Actually coming in. These Storms have been fantastic so far, actually. Okay, now Zealot's charging in. Reynor, a lot of his army is still in the 12 o'clock position. And so sOs cleaning up this force over here at the fourth base. Reynor a little bit underestimating the army that sOs had on his front door. The hatchery's going to fall. Reynor reset down to a 3-base eco, only on 6 gases, and sOs is going to pull right back.
Yeah, this is exactly what sOs had to do, was just get in, kill it, and escape. Has a little bit of a counterattack over here. I don't feel like Reynor has anything going for him right now. He's still going to try to develop into the Lurker Tech.
But he's so low on gas.
It's really bad.
There's going to be, what, 4, maybe 5 Lurkers here for Reynor, which it is a strong amount, but it's not what you want against a max Protoss army, which sOs is about to be once again. Oh, this is crazy. If sOs breaks this down, he's going to come in once more, sees the Arc of Lurkers, decides he's going to pivot to another area.
I mean, it just seems like Reynor is so up on the ropes right now.
I don't think there's any detection with his army, though, for sOs, which is difficult. So he's chrono boosting out an Oracle. I'm sure an Observer is also going to be in production, if not already on the way.
Yeah, I mean, what is Reynor supposed to do? This army is now sophisticated and scary. For a while, it was just Stalkers. But now it just feels like there's, Immortals and Templars and everything else. It's hard to ever get in there and fight. Reynor, when you look at the map, there's actually like nowhere to grow into here for Zerg.
Oh, this is such a smart move. Reynor, he's maxed. He wants to keep building supply-efficient units, which are not these roaches. So he's going to send these against the max Protoss who can't forfeit the units. He needs to defend them because everything is there on the front line. Recall's going to come in here to the natural expansion with a ton of Stalkers. Those will clean up the roaches, but this is going to allow Reynor to remax on more Hydras, potentially more Lurkers, add more firepower to his army. And Tasteless, you're asking what Reynor should do. I think that even though he isn't in the best situation economically, eventually these Lurkers are going to outscale the Protoss ground army. You're going to need air to deal with these Lurkers in the supreme late game here. We now have 11 Lurkers with Hive Tech upgrades for Reynor. That is so challenging for sOs to break down with what is a mostly Stalker army. We have 30 Stalkers on the field, a handful of Templar, only a couple of Immortals, what, 3 of them in total? Unless he's able to catch Reynor out of position, he's not going to be able to break down a fortified position of Lurkers. So for Reynor, I think the game right now is just pure cost efficiency, secure another expansion, because SOS's army doesn't really beat yours.
Yeah, Blink's right on top of that and wipes it. Reynor frees up his supply, trying to develop into a more sophisticated army. By the way, the Protoss is banking way more. A lot more gas. Nice stun there. I think SOS is going to slowly set this up to where there's nowhere to go for Reynor. Reynor doesn't have a base that's near him that he can easily take. The lower right side of the map is covered by Zealots. SOS is going to try to come through here. These storms are absolutely painful to watch.
I mean, the damage coming in from these lurkers is just so huge. Very cost-efficient trade right here for Reynor. And this is why it is so challenging to push into these positions with a mostly gateway-based army.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's one of those things where you see a base set up and you almost have to ask yourself, should we just leave that there forever and worry about the base after this one and try to stop that from happening? Mothership coming, by the way.
Yeah, and the air transition is here. Second Stargate also coming online. Shields and +1 air weapons, as well as carriers in production here for SOS. So he recognizes the situation that he's not going to be able to break Reynor. And he's making a very smart transition with that massive gas bank that he's got. 2.5k gas in total. Reynor, a little bit more all or nothing with his army. His army, as it stands, extremely powerful, but the Remax potential simply isn't there right now.
He's going to run in here now. Now, if he can get the lurkers into a similar position from the other game, from the other fight, excuse me, it's going to be the same problem here. It's hard to get gateway units to come in here and fight this, and I don't know if that's what Reynor's plan is or not, but he's going to be generating threats. But at the same time, SOS is getting a 5th base.
He's had these Zealots parked here for so long.
Well, you know, I mean, I don't think there's anything to stop Reynor from just running up there and burrowing lurkers and taking that spot, but until Reynor takes it, that's going to be it. By the way, this is a map without a lot of bases.
Right. It's
so
very challenging to take the next base here for Reynor.
Sick. Now, there is a world where Reynor, just through technical expertise and modern play, kind of powers through this. And I feel like we're kind of getting that. Like, Reynor's proving that he doesn't really have to respect this army. He just has to get lurkers in a good spot, and he can't really do anything.
Yeah, his army beats what SOS has on the ground.
Right. He's going to go ooze this one down. Counterattack inbound here.
And no Stalker Warp in yet to deal with these Corruptors, so that carrier will not complete. Zealot's actually able to find an angle here into the 3rd base of Reynor. Going to get a lot of damage done as we're in almost a pseudo base trade situation right now. The main base for both players not really under threat just yet.
What does Reynor actually have back at home? I don't see anything defending here. Oh my God!
Wow, that's a great catch right now for SOS. Those lurkers going down, they are so expensive. And there isn't much at home at all for Reynor. You're right, Tasteless.
I mean, he's going to take out the Spire right now. I see Zerglings coming up here.
I mean, he's going to get the Templar. Nice catch there by Reynor.
Hydras are coming out. It's like one carrier here with an Overseer, so the Interceptor's not particularly strong.
Yeah, this cloak is huge right now for SOS as well. You can snipe down that Overseer would be nice. Oh, not those though. 5 of them in total. Recall's going to have to come in here, I think, for SOS if he has the energy for it.
Okay, so he's going to kill a lot over here.
Yeah.
SOS is very, very low.
But still, he has a lot of money left in the bank. Now, the 3rd base for Reynor, I don't think it died. He did lose a lot of drones.
I actually think Reynor's okay.
Yeah.
I think this is, you know, this is one of the weirdest PvZs I've ever cast. As I look at it, I think that basically SOS lost his 2 periphery bases, and the only one that he's going to have that he has to hold on to is just one that we're looking at right here. I think if Reynor comes in here and takes this, it doesn't really matter what happens because the other bases are going to mine out.
Oh, and SOS is just going to forfeit it. He knows he can't
He's going to ditch it, so he's going to basically play from behind and try to expand again.
Really good storm catching the lurkers and the corruptors right there, but Viper of Ducks coming in. That is one more carrier going down. Carrier count just abysmal right now here for SOS. Another fantastic storm, but there's not a lot to back it up. Man, SOS played a brilliant game up until this point. Really one of the most crazy and chaotic PvZs I think we've seen in GSL in a long time, but Reynor with his mechanics and his game sense just a little bit better than SOS in these situations. I mean, you can tell all of the practice paying dividends from the years, whereas SOS coming back into GSL, going up against one of the best Zerg players in the world in a tough situation like this one, it is hard to navigate these late games.
I can't believe how good Reynor is. This was a very chaotic game. one of the harder games I've had to cast because it's just so weird. GG. And I imagine it was tough for Reynor to kind of figure out what was happening back there, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Reynor just has a better comp. He's got a composition where he knows, all right, whatever weird stuff you're doing, I'm going to get the right units. I'm going to play proper. You might have gotten the best of me in the early game and the mid game, but I'm going to just power through this. I'm going to hang on. And that's what he did. He just lurker pushed. You do not care about gateway units when you have enough lurkers. You just can't step on that area.
Yeah, he knew that the army he had on the ground was going to be what sOs had. And sOs did some really smart maneuvering with the mothership, with his army going for the base trade, causing problems. But at the end of the day, Reynor just a little bit too tight on the defense. sOs could not find the opening, could not get the critical damage, and Reynor's going to advance. After this break, he will face Solar in the final match of Group A. Will Reynor finally make it to the round of 8? We'll find out soon.